And so very good morning to the Gelding on certainly where I am, Gelding. It's an overcast day and with rain predicted. Caulfield track's currently good 4. Your thoughts on whether it'll end up being good 4 by the end of the day?
Good morning, Professor. Good morning to the listeners and Happy New Year to everyone. And everyone started the new year off, if they followed us, on a very successful day for GM Racing. And hopefully the listeners followed us in last week, Professor, for the start of the new year.
Well, we hope so. We hope so, Gelding. What would you say about a 50% win rate if we can keep that going till the end of the year?
The bank would be looking good. As I said, Professor, we should almost make this the recorded session on where people pay for the tips. But anyway, we'll see. Hopefully, we'll get something from a few of the well-known listeners today, especially a friend of Princess, who hopefully has been following the very, very successful Professor's parlay.
Well, I can tell you after making some inquiries, Gelding, that they're very upset. The comment to me was, "Oh, that's right, you'd win as soon as we stop following it."
Right, and why is that our fault?
No, that's not our fault, Gelding. That's theirs.
Right? Well, they win big and then they keep the money. No, well, yeah, Professor. The track. Well, I'm sitting about, I don't know, a mile and a half from the finish line at Caulfield, and it's overcast, it's grey, it's dark, there's water on the ground outside, so I'd be very surprised if it's a good 4. The rain we got yesterday, Professor, and, you know, raining overnight, so either it was a very hard track before it started raining, or I'm working on kind of a stop 5, maybe 6, Professor, but we'll wait and see.
All right, Gelding. 9 races on the card today. Now, answer me this. 8 races have a purse of $130,000. One race, yep. Race 5, the Richard Platt Handicap, $75,000. Now, where's consistency? Couldn't you have 130 for the whole card? What's happening?
Well, one answer there, Professor. Melbourne Racing Club. You keep asking me to justify some of the decisions that they make. Like, really? Tell me, why did they buy a bakery in South Yarra when you're a racing club?
They've sold it, Gelding.
Why did they move all the trainers away from Caulfield?
They've sold they've sold the bakery, Gelding.
Yeah, but why did they buy it in the first place, Professor?
Well, they thought it was a good idea at the time.
Okay, yeah. And then we have a pandemic, but anyway.
All right, the feature race, I was trying to work out what the feature race was, Gelding. The only way I can work out the feature race is race 6, the Marlene Rogers Handicap's a benchmark 100. So that's the highest rated race for the day. So I figure, well, that must be the feature race. Well,
let's hope it is, Professor. Yeah, it has a high rating, you know, for it. So yeah, an interesting race with the toppy out of that now to race in Sydney. So Credias may be one to follow in Sydney. But I will warn the listeners that Credias is a horse that gets well back in its races, so it needs a little bit of luck and needs to be flying at the end of it. So, you know, one of the racing patterns that I probably don't like, Professor.
All right, Gelding. Well, as I said, the track's currently rated a good 4, and I emphasise the word currently. The rail's out 3 metres for the entire circuit. For the second day of racing that we've tipped in for 2022, Gelding, what are your red hot tips for the day?
Professor, I like a couple later in the day, as we're talking about. The first one being race 7, number 6. I might need your pronunciation on it, Professor. You just say it so well.
Sig Positano.
Sig Positano. Where does these names come from? It's hard to go, come on, the Sig Positano, isn't it?
It's not the easiest. It wouldn't be the easiest horse in the world to barrack for, Gelding.
No. But Patrick Payne seems to have it firing at the moment. Its last 4 starts at 2-1, 2-3. Johnny Allen, a very cool, relaxed jockey, goes on board. So really am expecting it to perform very well, Professor, and hopefully, subject to the way the racing pattern is today. As I said, I'm a bit worried with the rain that's coming, the rail being out 3 metres. But if you can make a bit of ground from midfield, where I think this horse will be positioned, will be a very, very good chance, Professor. So I like that to start off our bets today.
Now, Gelding,
Stig Positano.
All right, just before you go on, normally you can get some reasoning about how the horse was named by looking at the sire and the dam. No help here, Gelding. The sire is Caulfield Cliffs, an Irish horse, and the dam is Capone. So I suppose there might be a very tiny indicator on the name of the dam, but I don't know how you get Sig Positano out of Caulfield Cliffs.
Is there a little restaurant in Caulfield Cliffs in England called Sig Positano? When the owners may have been there. I'm with you, Professor. As you said, normally you can get your name out of it, but like drop the mic out of a side from your song, so at least there's a little bit of a connection, but not much. But yeah, normally there's a story about it. But anyway, we'll see. Now the second pick, Professor, is in race 8, number 9, which I thought would have been one of yours, but happy to put it in the selection. Is It's Our Time, a horse we've been on before. Previously, when it ran second at Flemington, beaten the half head in a benchmark 84. Start before that, it had won at Flemington. So, It's Our Time, I think, is a good bet. And remember, 3 starts back ago, Danny O'Brien, the trainer, thought it good enough to enter it in the Group 1 Australian Guineas over a mile. So, this horse now coming back, starting over 1100, I think it will be powering to the line, Professor. It's Our Time. I note at the track, it's had 2 starts for a second and a third. So, but it's had 2 wins out of 2 starts over the distance of 1100, Professor. So my 2 tips: race 7, number 6, Sig Positano, and race 8, number 9, It's Our Time. What do you like, Professor?
Yeah, Gelding, I'm going a little bit earlier than you. Race 4, the Mark O'Sullivan handicap for benchmark 70 over the 1100 metre distance. I like horse 5, Marine 1, coming out of barrier 11. It's had 8 starts for 3 wins and a placing, so a 38% win rate and a 50% place rate. So those markers are pretty good. It's had 3 wins over its last 4 starts, so it's in form. It won over 1,000 metres at Pakenham on its last start on the 4th of December.
Which was a metro meeting.
Yes. Yeah, not your normal country meeting. Josh Richards, the apprentice, is claiming 2, so it'll start at 58.5. So I think I like the weighting there. Richards, 9% win rate over the career, 10% over his last 50. Maher and Eustace in superlative form, Gelding, 16% win rate for their career, 26% over the last 50.
They're winning everything at the moment, Professor.
Yeah.
They've got it right. And this horse, Marine 1, its last 4 starts, it's won 3. Of course, the only one it missed was when they entered it in the Group 1 Coolmore Stakes,
Yeah, I gave it a pass for that one.
Yeah. So, it was beaten 6 lengths, but, if a top trainer considers this horse as, that's one of the feature races of the spring, Professor. So if they think it's up to that, going around in a benchmark 78 at Caulfield off season,
carrying 58 and a half.
I like it, Professor.
The only danger, Gelding, number 2 in the boat. Two things that I was wary of because I was tossing up between the 2 horses. Number 1, it's coming out of barrier 13, so it's 2 wider than Marine 1, so it's got to get across Marine 1 to start with.
Yeah.
Secondly, if it's not a leader's track, and the percentage, I looked at the percentages, and the percentages are against it being a leader's track today. If it's not a leader's track, this horse loves to lead. My worry is that it'd get out in front and get run down.
I like the tip, Professor. As I said, any horse that the last 4 starts and you see win, an 11th, but that's in a group, a major group 1. And there's some group 1s that aren't majors, and then it comes out and wins, at its next start again. So,
yeah,
and you look at the grade of the race, Professor, more than happy with your tip there.
Yeah, winning form's good form, Gelding.
Oh, well, can't get any better, can you, Professor?
No, and the second tip for the day is in the last race, race 9, the Amanda check and handicap for fillies and mares, benchmark 70 over 1,100 metres again. On this one, I like horse 16. It should be You Beauty, but no, it's Jezelenko, You Beauty.
I was looking for the Quinella with the horse You Beauty, Professor. Can't see it. So we'll just have to go Jezelenko, eh? Yeah,
I think, Gelding, coming out of barrier 7, it's had 4 starts for 2 wins and a placing. So the form's terrific. It's won over the distance. It's won at the track. It won at this track on the 26th of December, the Boxing Day meeting. Jamie Carr back in form after her suspension. Career win rate of 17%, but over her last 50, Gelding 24%. So she's well back.
He's firing.
And combine that with Matthew Ellerton, he's on fire as well. Career win rate 12%. Over the last 50, he's upped it by 100%, Gelding, to 24%. Now, If you're looking for figures and looking for indicators, there's a lot of boxes ticked with this horse.
4 starts, 2 wins and a placing. I think you've got everything. It's a You Beauty type of tip, Professor. And the good thing, it's a Zoo Star.
We all love a Zoo Star.
We all love a Zoo Star, Professor. So, So I like our tips today, Professor.
Oh, we could go. Do you think we could go all 4, Gelding? It's been a while.
I'd be happy with a 50% win rate anytime, Professor. But look, it'd be good if we got the parlay 4 up for the win rather than the place. But let's hope that we can steer the punters in the right way.
Yeah.
But again, always with the caveat, Professor, I suppose we don't know what the track is. We have doubts on the rain during the day and all that. So, just be a bit careful when you're watching and look for the patterns of the day.
Exactly, Gelding, exactly. And what I'd say to punters is I've looked at each race because, Gelding, you and I spend a fair bit of time doing our homework on these horses. It's not just something we jump on air and just pick a horse and tell the punters about it, but it's a tough meeting. If you can tip 50% winners today, there's a pat on the back in store because a lot of those races I wouldn't have a bet in myself.
Oh, Professor, look, you look at the first one. You have the 2-year-olds and that. You've got the Blue Army with jewelry, and they're talking it up. But Anthony Friedman, Oliver's on board a favourite.
Yeah, he's on board a couple of favourites today, Gelding.
Yeah, we'll be watching that, Professor.
Let's see what the strike rate is at the end.
Yes, he's on the favourite Philosophizer, which Friedman has come out and said is a very, very good horse and one of their Blue Diamond contenders. And remember, they did win it last year. So with Artorias, so they know what a good 2-year-old is. So that'll be an interesting kind of watch. And as you said, the others are all very open races, Professor.
All right, Gelding. the very, very, very successful Professor's parlay.
Now, just give us the figures on this, Professor.
All right, over the
How have we gone since December 1?
All right, over the last 5 weeks, Gelding, we've been successful 4 times out of 5.
80%. 80%.
Yes.
You're picking a winning horse and 2 winning football sides.
Yep.
4 out of 5 times.
Yep.
Just you've got to pat your right hand up and pat yourself on the back, Professor. I think.
Well, we hope we can keep the streak going today, Gelding.
Oh, I like it, Professor. Having heard about it and knowing what it is, I think the listeners will be very, very happy with the very, 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 very successful Professor's parlay.
All right, Gelding. The agreed bet of the day, race 9, horse 16, Jezelenko, you beauty.
Okay. I've got Jezelenko here.
Yeah, currently showing $4 on the tote. And let's parlay that into a place we haven't been recently, Gelding, or for a long time, the FA Cup 3rd round.
Oh, the soccer, Professor.
Yeah, we're going for.
It worries me.
Oh, the Premier League's been kind to us, Gelding. All right. In this one, Stoke City, the Potters.
Yep.
The Potters. Stoke City playing at home to beat Leighton Orient, the O's. You know, Leighton Orient are the 2nd oldest club in London, Gelding, 1881. 1881 they've been around since.
How's their record, Professor?
Not too good over the last few years, Gelding. Now, what I like about this tie is this. Stoke City playing the Championship, which is basically level 2, Premier League level 1, the Championship level 2. Leighton Orient play in League 2, which is basically level 4. So you've got a team from the 2nd division playing a team from the 4th division. I always like those odds, Gelding, especially when they're playing at home. Yes,
Professor. Let's hope they, the only danger with things like that always, as we know, is that they take it a bit easy. And these lower graded clubs get on the thing. But I'm with you. I'd rather take a Division 2 over a Division 4 team anytime.
Exactly. And let's parlay that into now for people betting on the NFL. The last round in the NFL is a bit of a trap round because some players will be rested for teams that have guaranteed playoff spots. Some teams will play their stars for only half the game. That's why if you look at the odds, you might scratch your head about why certain teams appear to have better chances than they do normally. But the Indianapolis Colts, Gelding, are playing for a spot in the playoffs. If they lose, they could well not make it. So they're going to be all out. And that's what we want. We want a team that's going 100% for the whole game. Indianapolis Colts to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Indianapolis Colts are 7th in the AFC. They've won 9 games of 16. They've got a points differential of plus 101. Jacksonville Jaguars, terrible season. Stone motherless last in the AFC, 16th. They've only won 2 games. Points differential of 199. There's a combined points difference of 300, Gelding.
Yeah. I like it, Professor. A team that's got to win to get into the finals, you've always got to be happy. And when they're playing the bottom side, again, very, very, I like it, Professor.
And the other thing about the Jacksonville Jaguars, Gelding, is that they've got to lose to ensure that they get the number 1 pick in the draft.
Now, self-interest.
What would you rather do? Win a meaningless game or get number 1 pick in the draft?
Bit of self-interest there, Professor.
I think there might be a bit
makes the tip even better.
And how about a Jacksonville Jaguars going, Gelding? They picked number 1 in. They picked number 1 in last year's draft, so they'll be number 1 pick in the 2 drafts in a row, which means they didn't improve at all.
Oh, Professor. Well, hopefully they get it right this year, but I do like that. But I think even better, Professor, there's some juicy odds on this parlay.
Yes, Gelding. The odds on the parlay today, 11-2. Now, anybody's going to take 11-2 for a parlay.
Oh, well, especially when they win 4 out of 5. Why wouldn't you be on board? And hopefully the listeners are cashed up the last couple of weeks, Professor, after following it.
Well, we can hope so, Gelding.
I would hope that there would be a few there. especially those that won early when they put money on. And then it'll be good to see them follow through.
Maybe they'll be back today, Gelding.
Oh, you reckon they might make a New Year's resolution?
Yeah.
Follow the very successful Professor's parlay.
Yeah, don't get off too quickly. That's the...
Yeah.
Yes, Gelding, there's always that lesson for me. We went to Caulfield races together, and I got off you after the first.
After the first race.
Yeah, and the rest you picked winners and I picked losers.
Oh well, that's only a bit of I can't say it on air, Professor.
Well, I can say this, Gelding, it did teach me a lesson.
Oh well, might run in the family. Do you think?
Well, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Okay. All right, Gelding. Until next Saturday, it's good luck
and good punting.